Welcome to the SWEET Institute. As you know, SWEET stands for Supporting Well-Being Through Empowerment, Education, and Training. This is 2020, and we are always thinking of ways to speak with you, have communication with you, be part of this community with you. And as such, Sweet Talk is actually one of these endeavors for us to do that. Every single week, you are going to have a conversation between the two of us, David McKnight and Bernardo. You're gonna be hearing about everything, and we hope that you give us feedback on how that is of any help to you. In the meantime, we would like to thank you. Thank you for taking this time to be with us, to actually be listening to what we have to say. And welcome to the SWEET Institute. I'm going to go ahead and quickly allow Karen to just choose to tell you what she would like to start telling you, and then we'll follow up on this. Karen?
Hi everyone, I'm David McKnight. I am a social worker. I've been a social worker for almost 20 years now, and been working in the field for closer to 25 years. I'm the mother of an amazing almost 7-year-old boy. Yes.
He's great.
I
second that.
I was previously a singer, let's see, I went to Columbia University School of Social Work when it was a converted SRO, and we had ventilation shafts in the middle of every single classroom. I got my bachelor's at Stony Brook University. I've worked on suicide hotlines for years, and was a resident assistant, and when I worked in a partial hospital program, and in Manhattan Psychiatric Center, and then I moved most of my career into working in forensic mental health, where I worked in alternative to incarceration for people. First, it started with people with felony offenses who had serious mental illness.
That's a lot of work you've done, Karen.
Yeah.
And I'm sure
There's a lot more.
everyone looks forward to hearing more.
Yeah,
now, many of what you just said, I think I know most of them. I
Yeah.
think, but tell me, if you, in front of everyone, our audience, sweet audience, one thing you think I don't know about you.
One
that
thing
you'd like
you
to
don't
share
know
with
about me.
Therefore, we also live with the audience, but
One thing you don't know about me. We spend a lot of time together. Well, you already know that I want to ride a monster truck, so
that's right.
yes.
That's a good one. That I know.
Yeah. You already know that I'm trying to buy a house.
Okay. This is really also very good. What I don't know is.
What don't you know?
Okay, so we're gonna have to then go back to that.
Okay.
And
I'll think about it.
Yep. So I don't know you.
Do you know my birthstone?
Your birthstone. That's a very good one. So maybe you could. That's a good way to share that to everyone.
I'm a May baby. No?
Okay. I thought you were sharing it.
It's
with
an
everyone.
emerald.
Uh-huh.
My birthstone is an emerald.
Everybody knows, right? I hope you guys keep that in mind. Now I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about myself.
Please.
And the way we're gonna
and then tell me the one thing that I don't know about
absolutely.
you. I'm sure there's plenty. Actually.
And then the way we're going to do that, we're going to then look at different topics that we're gonna be talking about around Sweet Talk. Now I'm going to start by telling you, as many of you know, I am a psychiatrist. I am a quadruple board certified psychiatrist. What that means is that after my specialty in psychiatry, in general psychiatry and neurology, I also pursued additional subspecialties. One in child and adolescent psychiatry, then in forensic psychiatry, which is also psychiatry in the law, then in addiction medicine and psychiatry, and then also in public and administrative psychiatry. And I love seeing patients and clients. I am seeing patients and clients. I've worked in all and every single system you can imagine, and both as a clinician, supervisor, executive, including medical director and chief medical officers. Now, having said that, we're gonna switch a little bit to tell Karen something he did not know. She did not know, and therefore I'm sure you did not know that about me. Something that I know you don't know about me is the fact that I actually love avocado.
I know that about you.
Oh wow. Okay, she knows that about me.
Avocado, hummus, cookies.
I no longer
Not about the
no longer
cookies
do
anymore.
cookies.
Hummus, avocado.
So she knows all this now. Okay. Now you know what you know this.
Oh,
about
that's
me.
cheap. You still have to tell me something I don't know about you.
Okay. So something I think then you don't know about me. I no longer eat bananas.
I know that about you.
Uh-oh.
It has too much sugar. You already told me that.
So it's pretty. So I'm gonna have then to get back, just like she had to. I'm gonna have to.
I think
get
your
back to-
birthstone is an opal. I'm not sure though. I have to check that.
So we're gonna have to get back to that. Now let's actually
So cheap.
next time.
You gave up apples too because they're high in sugar.
Oh, that you didn't know.
I did know that.
That now that's something you didn't know. I found out that apple that has a lot of sugar, but it's not glucose, which is what we don't want.
Right.
It's actually fructose, and as a result, while apple does have a lot of sugar, actually because it's not glucose, it's actually good for me.
So have you been eating
Then,
apples?
even though I have not
So
gone.
there you go. He's still not eating apples.
No, but one thing you don't know is I actually just got some apples yesterday. I haven't started to. I haven't gotten the time to.
All right, I now know that he started eating apples.
But
again.
I'm studying and actually apple is I don't snack as you know,
I know that.
but apple is the only thing I would snack on if I were to
Okay.
to snack just because of that.
It was when we were at the presentation in Connecticut for the agency that we sat and went through and looked at the sugar of all the fruits that you
apple
were
has
eating.
a lot of sugar.
And apple
but-
and banana were one of them, and you were like, no
Yeah.
more bananas for me.
And I used to love apples, but then bananas definitely it's a lot of
Plums,
glucose.
you would eat a lot of.
No more fruits, but strawberry doesn't have a lot of sugar. Sometimes I do strawberry, sometimes.
He also loves peanut butter, but he doesn't
But
eat peanut butter
now I
anymore
stop.
either.
I stop peanut butter.
It's got too much
because
fat.
Too much sugar and too many calories. Okay, now you know a lot about us on the
His
personal
eating
level.
habits, anyway.
On a personal level, we would like then to actually get into more topics that also will be of interest to you and to us. And the way we're going to be doing that, I'm going to be asking Karen some questions. I'm sure some questions you would like to ask her. She's going to answer, and then as she talked to me, she's going to answer, and then she's going to do the same. She's going to be asking me a few questions, and then questions I hope you'd like to hear. Karen, you ready for everyone? You ready?
Sure.
Okay.
I think everyone more so than your questions. But.
Okay, perfect. So let's make it hard.
Oh, yay.
Now, everybody sees you sweet, and but then
Wait, sweet or sweet?
sweet, both.
I'm also sweet.
Pun intended. But then tell me and tell our audience, what's that about? That sweet thing.
I think sweet was the response to something that we both saw that was missing. You know, we've both been in executive administrative roles, and we've both seen our staff members burn out. We both have been in situations that we have been pulled in so many different directions that we couldn't even provide for our staff in the way that we wanted to. We both have been in circumstances where we tried to advocate within different organizations that we were in for more support for our staff. And so I think SWEET was a response to that, to this fundamental belief that we are valuable and important, and what we do is valuable and important, and being able to make sure that we can have the support to continue to do it. So I think, you know, and it's evolved over time too, you know, but I think the idea is, you know, the amount of love and honor and respect I have for our community, and wanting to make sure that the folks all of us within our community have all the things that they need so that they can continue doing the work. And it's been, you know, I've had such privilege of having so many conversations with so many members and non-members about their lives and what they're going through. It's, you know, it seems like it's connection, right, as well, and creating connection and opportunity. And so it started off as a response, you know, and became, I think, something much deeper.
And as you are talking, and I'm sure the audience may be thinking the same, is that what's been the response like from our colleague clinicians? What's that been like?
I think by and large the response has been very positive. I think people have found that there is something unique about what it is that we're doing, in that, like, it's not a traditional CEU provider where you show up, you log in, you know, sit for a webinar or sit for a seminar, and then you leave, and that's it, and that's the last contact you have with the trainers, and the last, you know, and the last contact you may have with other people in the room that you've never met before. You know, and I think it's been a different experience. We have the same people who show up to our seminars, show up to our webinars, and they get to know each other, and then they connect with each other. I remember our first seminar that we ever did as SWEET. 2 people showed up.
Well, that was September 26th.
Of 2018? 2017.
Yeah.
And 2 people showed up, and it was a very intimate group. It was really phenomenal, sort of intimate group, but it was like a lot was uncovered in that group. And then they were both happened to be in another training like months and months and months and months later, and and they saw each other and they embraced. You know, like there was no context for the 2 of them to have connection prior to showing up to the seminar. And so, you know, creating that, you know, and being a part of that, and seeing people exchange numbers and invite each other for coffee during the webinars and things like that. Yeah, that's cool. Makes a lot of sense. Now
these are very nice quantitative. Now, I've rather qualitative. Now, in terms of quantitatively, how that's been like? What's been the response from clinicians to what you said has been behind SWEET, why SWEET started?
Well, I think, you know, we do have evaluations after every webinar that we do, and also every seminar that we do, as you know. And for the seminars, I think the last time we ran the data, it was about 86% of the people felt like more empowered after they left our seminars. And our webinars has been pretty consistently between 89 and 92% of people who felt like they had gotten something that they could use in their everyday practice. So I think, you know, I think, and of course, like, whenever we get feedback from people that something didn't work well for them, and something wasn't, you know, didn't match with, you know, whatever the expectation might have been, or whatever the experience was for them, you know, we try and do our best to reach out and find out what we could do differently. And sometimes we do make major shifts just based on one person's feedback because it's feedback that makes complete sense and that we can do. And then we also try things out. We test things. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But that's part of evolving, and it's part of being human. You know, you try and you test, and then you make decisions from there.
Yeah. So that makes a lot of sense. Now, so how many clinicians are we talking about?
So I think in total what we're talking about is we have over 7,000 evaluations completed. So we know that there are a number of people who repeat. So I would say there's probably about 6,000 people who have gone through our webinars.
6,000 people. And then you're saying that almost 90% of them
That's what the data shows.
Now, many of those individuals or clinicians are members.
You know, so that's varied as well, because people have become members and then didn't stay or changed their mind or got what they needed and moved on. So right now we've had enrolled I think about 1,300 members in total.
1,300, so that would be like that's definitely more than 10% from this number of, that's about more than 20% then of the number of people participating in our webinars. So, okay, now so you here, this is Sweet Institute. We're talking about Sweet Institute. You may or not be a member. Whether you are a member or not, I'm gonna be asking Karen, why becoming a Sweet member? Why someone becomes a Sweet? What is
why not? It's a good question, because I've asked myself that, like, if I were not part of Sweet, would I become a member? And to be honest, I've vacillated back and forth on that. But I think as we have continued to grow and offer more, that it's not just about continuing education. I mean, that's great, and obviously it's sort of the foundation of what it is we do as a service. But it's not the foundation of who we are as an institute or as an organization, or what it is that we believe in. And so, I think Sweet is a safe place to be. I think it's, the things that people have told me about their lives and the things that they're dealing with and the things that they're living with, and just to be able to be that place that people can do that. And when we have the group supervision and people come and they talk about really, really challenging cases that they're not getting support on, and we're able to, and the group is able to be there and to be present with them through that and to help, figure out like next steps if that's even the appropriate thing to do for that particular case. But I think it's also about all of the other things that we provide to people. I think it's about being invested in that, in the wholeness of who we are individually, right? And as a collective. If we are collectively healthier and taking better care of ourselves and doing things that are important to us and doing things that we feel passionate about and complete about, then what we can offer and what we can continue to give is just like there's no stopping us. And so I think that, between our goal achievement series, the new series that we started about science, spirituality, and mental health, the professional lifestyle series that we're going to have starting, the series where it's Yumi and Philippe talking, and Philippe's a neurologist colleague of ours and friend of ours. All of the different series that we offer. We have the private practice series, the Spanish speaking series, all of the different things that we offer that are not just the book club that's starting. They're not just about helping people get continuing education credits. It's about like helping people, be full in their lives and whatever that means for them.
You raised lots of good points. The first one was you putting yourself in the shoes of other clinicians, trying to answer the question, should I join or not? And you said you vacillated. I don't know whether you meant in the past or still now, but we got less. So
Okay.
if you want to talk more about that, and then if that changed for you, what made that change, and then when you what was going on in your head when during that vacillation. I'm sure all of us would like to hear about that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and and Mardashay knows when I'm asked the question, I'm just gonna be straight, right?
You better. I know you will be straight.
So I think some of it, like there have been, some of the vacillation has been about the cost,
Mm-hmm.
right? And 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 my own mindset about what money means to me,
Mm-hmm.
and the sort of lack and having this like concept about never having enough, and the thoughts that I have about like I can only be doing well and I can only do things if I have more money,
Mm-hmm.
and not thinking about money in terms of a resource that kind of comes and goes. And so I think initially my hesitation was all around the cost and the money and things like that. And I'm sort of a recipient of sweet services myself. I learn as I do. But I also get to sit in, obviously I get to sit in on everything. Whether I'm in the forefront or the background, I'm sitting in everything and reading the books, or trying to, at least I'm ordering them on Amazon.
The books of
or
the day.
Audible, or finding them on YouTube. So I'm a recipient of Sweet as well as part of Sweet. But I think that the beginning parts for me were mostly about the money.
Mm-hmm.
And it stemmed from what my beliefs about money were. And so I think as I have evolved and as I have shifted my mindset about what money means and what money means to me, it's opened up a whole bunch of things for me. It's opened up ideas about, investment properties, and about, going on vacation. Not just one, but like, God help me 2 a year, and it had been years before I even considered being on vacations, and so because all of it was so tied to never feeling like I had enough money, even though I had, money's, it's just a resource. It's, it doesn't matter. So I think that's why, and then as that has shifted, it's been more about, I haven't had as much vacillation about whether or not I would have become a member if I wasn't part of Sweet. I think most of it was about money.
Yeah, I mean, excellent points here. Now, as you're listening, tell us, put some comments. What are your thoughts about number one, the investment for Sweet membership, and like Karen was saying, money, and in terms of what the investment. Now, for example, even when you were still in that phase, Karen, when you were thinking about, wow, the money was part of the vacillation, how much do you think would make sense that would make it affordable for you?
I think it just depends on, right now it's not even something that I can think about, but I think it's, I think it depends on where, I think it depends on not the cost but the value, right? So, because we will buy, we will go to Whole Foods, right? And we'll drop a ton of money on food, right? We'll be part of a gym that maybe is expensive.
Yeah.
We'll buy shoes, or or toiletries, or whatever products that we normally use that make us feel great, or clothing, or whatever it is. We invest a lot of money in things that are often external, or help with the external, or you know, and do also make us feel good, but it's not really long lasting because it doesn't touch the core of who we are. And I think that's what I mean by, I think the value and what we value, you know, and I think that's the struggle within our community, you know, what value we put on ourselves, like how important are we to ourselves, you know, and so if I'm important to myself, then I will spend the money on the things that help increase my own sense of self and my own value and my own sense of importance, and that will help me continue to grow. And, you know, maybe instead of buying this item, then I get this item instead. That might be a little, you know, that's where I can have more flexibility in whatever my budget looks like. But if I have a budget, you know, being able to think about my budget as what are the things that are going to help me grow, that are going to help me evolve, that are going to help me love myself, be in space with myself where I'm happy and I have relationships that are fulfilling, versus like some of these external things that, you know, like, do you know how many bags that I have in my closet that I don't even use? Right? They're all lovely, and I'm glad I got them all, but like they just sit there and they don't add anything to my life. And so now I'm really looking for things that are going to add to my life.
Now, so we asked you the question, and the question earlier is how much money is a concern to you as it relates to investing as part of your membership Pursuit Institute. And Karen again answered another great with another great response, talking about it's how much value we attach to whatever it is that we are supposed to invest in or purchase. Now the question therefore for all of you, and I'm going to be asking Karen a version of that, is how much value do you think Sweet has? And I'm going to ask Karen that question so she can have also brings with some ideas for how much value do you think Sweet has for clinicians in general?
I think it depends on the clinician, right? Like this is an individualized experience, and so the value of anything, I think anyway, the value of anything in life is going to be based on what you take from it, right? Like what you feel like it can give to you. Now, I think Sweet does offer quite a bit to give people value and to give them, you know, whatever they may need, you know, and if we don't have it, we can figure out a way to do it, right? But I think at the end of the day, you know, it's available if people use it, and then it's available, you know, and there's value to it if people use it, you know, like there's not value to things if people don't use them. Your car, if you buy a car and you don't drive it, it has no value to you except it, like, you know, takes up space on the sidewalk or the street or in the garage, you know, so, you know, literally this could be seen as a vehicle for your own sort of growth and development.
You mean Sweet?
Sweet, yes, not a car. So I think Sweet has everything and anything to offer people who want to take advantage of it. But I think beyond that, it's really an individualized experience of what the value is that they wanted to get from it.
Yeah. A lot of good thoughts. What do you think? Whether you're a member or not, do you see any value in Sweet? Now Karen says anything and everything. We're gonna actually really ask her to elaborate on that. What does that mean? Everything and anything.
Well, it depends. Like, you know, we've, you know, certainly there have been, you know, we have all of the series that we have. We have continuing education credits, we have certificate programs, we have, you know, we do quite a bit of role plays, and we have some, you know, webinars coming up that are role play focused so that people can see the skills in place. We have these series that explore our own sense of spirituality. We have series that explore, you know, what are the different ways in which people look at, you know, different aspects of life, you know, relationships, you know, marriage, divorce, child rearing, you know, death. You know, we sort of like really, you know, look to do things that involve everything. But we also, like, behind the scenes, we also get calls from people who are looking for a therapist,
Mm-hmm.
you know, or, you know, and want to know if we know people,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and we help them, you know, sometimes it's just like, I just wanted to tell you guys because, you know, like, I'm isolated where I am and I don't really have that opportunity, and so you guys are my community, so I'm going to call you and tell you. You know, we've had people reach out to us about, you know, what kind of medical records do you, like, EMRs do you recommend? You know, what kind of, you know, have you heard of this place before? Would, you know, what I'm thinking about changing jobs. You know, what kind of, can I send you my resume to look at? You know, so that, you know, you can help me figure out what kind of jobs. I just started a new job and I'm a new manager and I'm wondering if I could just run some things by you. So, like, really and truly, people do reach out to us with all kinds of areas of their life that they're thinking about, to just kind of, like, get another opinion or tap our experience. Somebody applied for a job and asked if I could be a reference for them, you know, like, because we have a lot of interactions. You know, people who we have a number of people who were helping write articles and books and things like that. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that that are available if you ask.
So you seem to be saying that Sweet does provide a community.
Yeah.
And the question is, just we have like 100,000 psychologists, 600,000 social workers. I don't really know how many mental health counselors we have. We have like 40,000+ psychiatrists. We have a lot of clinicians.
Yeah.
And
Nationally, you mean?
Yeah, nationally.
Okay.
And then you said earlier the enrollment for membership has been 1,300
People, yes.
people. And then the question is, why not more?
Well, I think it's like anything else, right?
Mm.
Like, I think there's a part of it that, there's commitment stuff, right?
Mm.
Like, you become a member of something, you're committing to it, you know, and it's, and maybe it's like the same as people's commitment to gym memberships, you know, and maybe that's the reason why they do or don't join a gym, right? Because, maybe they don't want to commit to it because they don't think they're going to use it, you know? So why commit to something that I don't want to use, you know? Or maybe it's, it might be that the focus is, or the impression is that Sweet is only about continuing education. And so I don't need any more credits, so why would I become a member? So there could, it could be any number of things in people's lives about why they do or don't pull the trigger on something that they think might be helpful for them, you know, and I think that that's part of, that's sometimes part of our culture and our community is to put other things before ourselves. And I think that Sweet might fall into that category of doing something for myself, and that being something that I'm not comfortable with because really everything about me is for other people, you know, and so I think that those, when I think about it, those would be some of the reasons why I think that there is a hesitancy to become a member.
Yeah. What services for you who are listening to us? What services are you aware of that Sweet does provide? Because Karen made
a lot of them.
A very good point. It's not just CEU credits, but it's also many other types of webinars for us as clinicians. And so, do you think clinicians don't know that we have those available at Sweet Institute?
I don't know. I don't know what people know. What I do know is that we're all very busy, right? And so there's got to be something that's gonna really jump out at us, to catch our attention long enough to actually make a move on something, you know. And so, yeah.
Yeah, that's another excellent point. do you receive sweet emails? And if so, do you open them? Do you read them? Do you click on the links? Very curious to hear about those of us who listening to this or watching those videos or listening to us, because I'm sure some of you right now are in the gym. We know some members who tell us how they listen to our YouTube videos while they're on the gym.
That's
so
actually one of the people sent me a message saying on vacation they downloaded like 20 videos.
Yeah.
Because they were preparing for their licensing exam.
Yeah.
And so they downloaded a bunch of our videos, and
Yeah.
because they weren't going to be in a place of Wi-Fi, but at least it was downloaded. So.
Yeah. And now so the question would be time, as you said. Now, when you say time, it goes back to again value. How much we value what, and because there is a misnomer out there around managing time. We cannot manage time because time is time, right? We all have 24 hours, but then it's what we do with that time. Now, so for example, what would you say? It's hard to speak for everyone, as you often say, but if we were to just guess here, what do our fellow clinicians do most with their time? Work.
Yeah, that I didn't really need to think about that.
Yeah.
I think they work. You know, I don't think that our community is a community that does 9 to 5 and then they're out, you know, and then they get to shut off. I think, you know, people work late depending upon the time of year it is. If there's like a quarterly report that needs to be done, or they're, you know, whether or not they're line staff or a manager, you know, everybody's impacted by a quarterly report, right? Because all the notes have to be done, they all have to be signed. You know, all the treatment plans that have been sitting and pending need to get done, all of those things, and the regular hubbub of the day. You know, crisis, emergencies, you know, escorting people to where they need to be if you're in case management, if you're doing care management and you're doing it remotely now, you know, it could be 24 hours because you're responsible for making decisions about whether or not people stay in the hospital a little bit longer, and so you need to do QI about that, you know, or QA. So I think it's, you know, I think that people spend more time working than they do anything else.
It would be interesting to hear from you, to know exactly how much time people really are spending. Is that a survey that Sweet should be?
Yeah, are you working? I think I have a survey written already on that we just never used.
Yeah.
But like, are you working? No, we've asked these questions I think in trainings, like how many people work 40 hours a week, and then people raise their hand, how many people work 45 hours a week, and then 50 hours. And so how many people get paid for 40 hours a week? How many people get paid for 60 hours a week? And it's, you know, by and large, it's I get paid 40 hours a week, but I work 60 hours a week.
So we're talking about within 5 days a week. 5 days a week.
And that's just one job. Some people have multiple jobs.
Yeah. So which means by the time people get home, it's pretty it's hard. They just have to go to what? How do they use the rest of their time?
You know, I don't know. Some people, I mean, that might be family time for some people. You know, for some people, you know, maybe they do things for themselves. Where they, you know, go someplace after work. Or at least once a week they'll do something for themselves, which I think is great. It might be, you know, like go home, eat dinner, do work, because I think some people bring their work home. I know I'm certainly, you know, when I worked in agencies, I was certainly guilty of that. Now I mostly work from home, so things are a little bit different.
Wow.
But, you know, and then I hear a lot about Netflix, binging Netflix. So.
That's during the week or during the weekend?
You know, it might be, I don't know. There's this Game of Thrones thing where people like run home to go see it. So I don't know if that's like, it might be both binging and making sure that you're home for it.
Yeah. Wow. So then that takes us to what do people do during the weekend? At least they don't have to go to
Probably
the agency
sleep.
most of the time, or they sleep because
I think.
they don't get to sleep at night.
Well, I think that, it's
During the week.
exhausting. Like, so people go to work, they work for a minimum of 8 hours a day, minimum, right? And this is, general, right? Like private practice has designed their schedule based on need and where their availability is.
Mm-hmm.
But, the commute, I think, what is it, on average, people commute 2 hours a day,
Mm-hmm.
2 or 3 hours a day, something like that. So the commuting time is exhausting, and so if you have to be at work at 9 a.m., that means that maybe you're getting up around 6 a.m. just to get ready for work, to leave your house by, if you have kids or if you have other things in your life, you have to leave your home probably by 7:30, 8 o'clock. You have your whole day at work, then you have to get on the public transportation system wherever you are and then commute all the way home. And then by the time you're home, if you leave at 6 o'clock, let's say, you may not be home till 7:30. And that's a long day.
Yeah.
That's a long day. When you get home, you probably have just enough energy to eat and maybe sleep. But it's exhausting.
What do your days look like for all of you, our sweet audience? Let us know. Now, having said all this, what is the solution?
I think so. There have been a couple of things that I've even done for myself in terms of, I know that there's 168 hours in the week, and so I was thinking about what do I actually use my time for? And I would mark it down. I would write it down. What am I actually using my time for? And I was amazed to see how much time I actually wasted throughout the course of a day. And then I learned how to just become more efficient around the tasks I was doing, the activities I was doing, and how I was spending my time. Whether or not it was, I love to read. I don't always get a chance to read, but even if I get to read 2 pages a day, I'm fine with that. And then I also get to listen to an Audible while I'm in the shower, or some sort of YouTube video that's going to help stimulate my brain a little bit more, where I'm not just focused on getting through the day, but I'm also focused on learning something. So it might be an Audible or a YouTube video, and during my commute I do the same thing. And so then there's that time for me that even though there are other people around sometimes, it's still, I'm still being replenished. And then the day doesn't feel quite so exhausting, and it doesn't feel quite so chaotic. And then I can organize myself a little bit more. And then I'm also learning how to say no to things, and when I've reached sort of my threshold, and I know, and my mood starts to change too much, and it's harder for me to get myself into sort of a calmer frame of mind, I know that is my cue that right now, for this period of time, however long that's going to be, no more. These are the things I can do. Anything beyond that, I am not going to be able to do, because other things are going to suffer, and all of them need to be committed to, and I need to commit to all of them. And so I'm not, I'm learning to be bold around what is important in terms of what's going to keep me sane and keep my life more in balance. So, but that's sort of a learning process. I'm still, dipping my toe in the water of that. Sir Martishay, no more.
Yeah, and
Done.
We look forward to hearing more about all this in terms of, because those are very important points here. All of us, right, have to be making those decisions. And one thing you mentioned, Karen, I'm sure you would like to hear more, is around looking at time from a week block, which is 168 hours.
Yeah.
And I know you have that question, and Karen said, I looked at my time, I realized I was wasting my time in a lot of things. First of all, have you done something like this? This is something that's recommended for all of us to do.
And it's everything. It's how much time do I spend in the shower? How much time do I spend getting ready? How much time do I spend with my son? How much time do I spend, reading or exercising or whatever? It's everything.
Commuting.
Everything. Commuting. Every bit of time how much time do I sleep? everything. So then I was able to see, like, you know, where am I using my time that I feel like I don't have any.
Now, I'm sure you're all curious to hear, where did Karen find that she was wasting her time? Why don't you share with us?
Some of it was, you know, there were times where I couldn't account for, like, where those blocks of time were, and so I spent some time thinking about, you know, it was like responding to emails, you know, and it was, you know, filling, you know, because I may have rushed in doing something and not done it the way that it would have been most optimal.
Yeah.
And so having to redo it.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, wasting time around those kinds of things, you know, not having systems in place that could make things more efficient, and not asking for more help, you know, just sort of trying to do it all on my own without asking for help.
Yeah.
So those were some of the things that I found. But the emailing was really, you know, emailing and then looking things up to try and fix things, and, you know, that's where I saw a lot of time that wasn't being efficiently used.
Yeah. There are many studies
about
that
email,
that
right?
do show that one
email.
of the number one time wasters, and then number two, which is also related to number one, is a lot of interruptions.
Yes, absolutely. That I have found too, you know, especially working from home. For those of you who may work from home or do both, just the number of interruptions, and they could be interruptions that are self-imposed too, like, oh, look, it's raining out, you know, or whatever it is, you know, because I need a distraction. But it's, you know, it's sort of trying to also figure out how to use the time that my son's in school and maximize that time. What do I do when he gets home? You know, how do I balance the time that I'm still working with the time that he also needs, and how do we do homework together, you know, and that kind of stuff. So it's, you know, and so all of those things do become distractions, and sometimes they're needed distractions, but when they sort of build and add, then they end up being such a distraction that you're not doing anything else but, you know, finding reasons to wash dishes or take out garbage or make the bed, you know, all that stuff that, you know, if you had a system around.
It shows that
I have to take the garbage out.
it shows that each time we get interrupted, the amount of time it takes us to get back to what we were doing is much more than we actually even conscious of.
I see.
And even when we get and then finding where we were, and then really we put in all that brain power into it, it's really it's kind of like it's amazingly significant. And then number two, another thing is that, as part of what Karen you talking about, is the recommendations when you have to take out so many distractors or interrupters, is really to use block of time and know that, okay, I'm blocking this time for that. Then I can deal with all of those other things later on. And what happens many times is you start to feel like, oh, this is not being taken care of, and then you panic, and then that's the panic part that then gets us out of balance. I would like to hear from you. And how many of you? There's actually a very nice book. You may have it, which is The One Thing.
I do, yes. I haven't read it yet, but it's on my shelf.
Yeah.
Maybe I need the Audible.
That's a recommendation, and maybe you'll get to read this book in the book club. This will help you think about your time differently and this is not a time management book, by the way. And yet, when you just read it and understand it, you will see how you get to manage, not manage, but you get to make use of your time totally differently. It's been almost an hour now.
I know, I was thinking about it a few minutes ago that this was supposed to be me also
Yeah.
asking you questions.
Yeah.
This is how it normally goes, folks.
Yeah.
I'm the one who's questioned all the time, and he gets an out every single time.
I guess ask the questions. Now, by the way, do you not like this better?
Still want to know what I don't know.
And I think from
The
time
apples doesn't cut it.
what you don't know. Okay, maybe next time we'll tell. I'll tell Karen something she doesn't know. But I am confident having asked Karen all the questions and she answered the questions from time to time I chime in may happen to be a better way to proceed, and we're gonna proceed accordingly next time. So you'll be hearing me asking Karen tons of questions.
And also, like, send in questions.
Yes.
Right? Like, put questions, post questions.
Yes.
Because I think I would like to answer your questions before I answer his questions.
Good. So let's see who's the first person to ask a question.
Yeah.
And
Bring
number
it.
one, and we are going to send this to everyone in our listserv, and when you receive it, you'll be able to watch that, right? As you watch it, you can email us your questions. Email us back. Just answer to that email we'll be sending to you with that video, each video, and then you get that. So
And also on YouTube, because it'll be posted on YouTube as well, and you'll have a YouTube link. You'll be able to ask questions in the YouTube link in the comments area.
Oh, absolutely. Actually, that's actually that's really even better. But obviously, the link we're gonna be sending to you is gonna be the YouTube link, and then you'll be able to. Thank you for being here with us. Let us know what else you would like to hear. What other questions you would like to be asking Karen
Or Marcia.
And,
You can ask him
that's
questions
fine.
too.
Questions you have for me. We love you very much. Thank you for being part of this community, one way or another, as a member, as a non-member, as a viewer, Sweet is the place for all clinicians throughout the world, and you're part of something big, and we're proud of you for being one of the pioneers. Love you. Take care. Bye bye.